Live severe subject talk about Hurricane Melton.
Peaked out at sea, and although
Weather,
not
UK 24.
powerful across Florida, still capable of producing devastation. So the rain and the strong winds being felt across a large part of the state for many, many hours, but the worst of the weather along that western coast of Florida.
Christ.
Strong winds to the south, in some cases destructive winds, pushing that seawater inland, perhaps even many miles, and it is a very low-lying region. Now, at worst case, we could see that seawater 10 to 15 feet high. These values will be verified once the storm passes. So once it also crosses central parts of Florida, tornadoes are possible, flash flooding from the drenching rains, widespread power outages, and then the storm will track out
into the Atlantic, which is cooler waters.
Forecasters say it will come ashore with sustained winds over 130 miles an hour, almost perpendicular to the coast. So long stretches of that Gulf Coast will be affected. And then
this is very unusual and rare, guys.
Central Florida towards Miami, Fort Lauderdale. That's still a Category 1 hurricane as it heads out into the Atlantic. 1 million people currently under an evacuation order.
Wow.
Some of them just outside the mandatory evacuation zone who are going to ride it out.
What?
Yeah, we actually just bought this house a couple of months ago.
Crazy
fools. Rated for a Category 5 hurricane, and it came with storm shutters. So those
get out of the path.
Everything inside prepared,
get out of the path.
So we're just really bunkering down and hoping.
Your lives can be. You can rebuild your house. Your lives are more important. It's like a tornado. There'll be tornadoes in this hurricane as well.
Story home. My parents live across the street.
Yeah.
Safe houses on our list in case flooding does happen, but we're almost positive that where we are, there will not be flooding.
Fingers crossed. Even before this hurricane comes ashore, the second in as many weeks, it is now apparent that the flood risk maps, which millions of Americans have turned to before they buy homes or set up businesses, are dramatically out of sync in the new era of these climate-intensive
Hurricane Sandy, you remember that one, 2012.
Of the inland homes hit by the flash flooding that was caused by Hurricane Helene did not have public flood insurance. The FEMA flood maps, which pinpoint to the most hazardous areas where homeowners require insurance, are often out of date. They don't focus on the danger of rain-caused flooding. Let's turn to our panel. That's the terrifying thing, I think, Joe Walsh, for a lot of these people who are watching and waiting to.
This is a catastrophic hurricane.
Maybe they don't have the insurance.
Major catastrophic hurricane for Melton in Florida right now.
Look,
no joke, it's live right now.
Moment in America right now for this region.
I predicted it on the 1st of March this year, 2024.
Was a fairly historic.
I'm the best better man in the universe, no joke.
Much of Georgia and Florida and North Carolina, South Carolina are recovering from. And then wham, here comes Milton, which may be one of the biggest hurricanes to hit the western coast of Florida in a century. This is a problem. It's a problem for the state of Florida. It's a problem for the insurance industry.
Donald Trump's golf course is going underwater. Bye-bye.
And there are a lot of people who come, I'll tell you what, come this weekend, are going to have their lives and their homes destroyed and nowhere to turn to.
Maybe if you start the Christian identity out of Star Trek Next Generation, there'll be soil left. All that'll be left is sea and water and sand and soil. Nothing left standing.
Yes, and it comes face to face with conservative politicians like me who believe in a more limited.
Jesus Christ, Michelle and Carnage Evans
certainly need to understand that this is a role of the federal government, and we've been fighting for so many years about taking away money for disaster relief. Primarily, the Republican Party, my party, has been doing it. And it's a lot of these Republican representatives down in Florida who will be the first ones complaining in a few days after they see the destruction.
Of course they will be.
Liz, this is a particularly important issue.
They will in the Senate anyway, in the Senate.
Florida tonight. When you look across the UK, the financial burden of tackling climate change does fall disproportionately on Scotland. It's now 18% of the Scottish Government's capital budget. So just to put that into perspective for you, that equates to just over £200 per person in Scotland, compared to just under £150 in the rest of the UK. That's a big amount towards resilience and adaptation, and that's not accounting, Liz, for the cost of cleaning up storms like Storm Babbitt or other natural disasters.
Or Bolts Castle.
Absolutely.
in the
Chris,
UK,
you know,
back in
we do not
2003,
see storms of the kind of
I think,
Hurricane
or 2.
Milton, which, you know, people
Or
in
4, 2004
the US
that
will
was,
be
yeah,
hugely
2004
concerned about
August. I
tonight.
remember that.
But
Missed
it's
about a
not
week or
just
so. Luckily I
Scotland,
wasn't
it's not
there.
just the UK. This is a global
Missed it.
challenge. Extreme weather events are more frequent. They are more damaging than they used to be. We can spend money in, you know, in the United Kingdom, in Europe, in the US on
Flood defences.
or on preparing our houses, preparing our infrastructure to withstand these events. You have other countries, less well-off countries. If this hurricane was, you know,
Africa.
a couple of 100 miles to the south, it would be passing over Caribbean islands who
Or
do not have
the
those same
media,
resources. And
the
this is
public.
the question that essentially all countries in the world now have to wrestle with, which is what are we going to do to withstand these threats to make ourselves safe in the future?
When you look at where this is
Bit
coming
like
from,
COVID-19, isn't it? That virus. Remember
the
that?
reality is that some
But this is more
this area
bigger
was
than the
flooded.
picture meets the
It
eye.
flooded quite dramatically, but we built
And the reason we're
houses
COVID
in
is because
floodplains.
of
We saw it in
the warmer
California.
climate, more
This is a
viruses.
low shelf.
Tropical climate, more viruses.
It goes inland
All
a long
hurricane
way.
together,
So when you talk
all
about
nature
resilience
connects
and
together,
the
guys. Like the
intensifying
butterfly
storm,
effect.
it's a mammoth job to put resilience in place.
And it's such a great point. And look, we're putting off having really difficult conversations about this issue, about how we adjust vis-a-vis climate change to these greater storms now hitting us. Do we build there?
Do you build a
Where do
high
people
wall
live?
or a castle to stand these
Here in
storms?
America, in Florida, New Orleans, so many of our low-lying areas.
We're not the only ones to be affected by climate
we
change.
Just continue to build.
Americas, we are.
And then we build another home.
This rainstorms a few days ago in the UK were pretty vicious, weren't they? I've got my shot on. Look at me in a heavy rainstorm. That was tense, man.
About continuing
Really
to build
uncomfortable.
in certain
Unbearable.
areas like this, while we're trying to do what we can to mitigate the effects of climate change. But that's a conversation we have to have, because the whole country is paying for people continuing to purposely live in these low-lying areas.
That's a conversation for the federal government. It's also a conversation for the insurance industry. We're going to talk about the insurance industry very shortly.
There we go, insurance part, see? Insurance, you name it. I think that'll do. I hope you liked the video. Please subscribe to Channel San Jones and the force be with you always. This is my friend Sparky and Jim Bay every Friday. Free to 5 p.m. on TF Friday, things sorry, Hills Radio Friday. And it's my friend John on the last show every Sunday at 9 to 12 p.m. live on the Woking radio station. On the Woking radio station, John last show every Sunday at 9 to 12 p.m. And it's my friend Shane live with Cindy Lou every Friday at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. live with Cindy Lou every Friday on Surrey Hills Radio Friday. Please subscribe to Channel San Jones. This is serious, hot, stormy, laverish, deadly hurricane news today in the UK, let alone across into America. Yes, we got extra storm Kirk across the south of the UK over Europe today, over France and Spain, which has been battling France and Spain today badly, with lots of rain and floods. Please subscribe to San Jones and 85% like hurricanes, next hurricanes as well, across the UK and across the USA and America. Please subscribe to San Jones.